Okay, all right. So today we'll talk about this idea called frequency table. Now, frequency table is normally used to describe how often does an event occur. Okay, so I'll show you what that means. So frequency usually is denoted by a number. Okay, so for example, if I have a frequency table, this is a data shows the score of a player, how much score does he or she achieve. That means in each match there are four matches that this player achieve once, 1 mark, and there are 9 matches the player achieve 2 scores, and then there are 6 matches that the player got 3, and 7 times that the person got 4 out of it, and then 3 times the person doing really well getting 5, and then 2 times the other person is getting 6 out of the match. Not sure which match does that refer to, but I'll give you a general idea of what that looks like. So if we count the frequency, we will be able to fill in the frequency there. We call this whole thing the frequency distribution table. Now, distribution means how is it distributed, how is it allocated in each block. Okay, so we're going to look at our data for sure. We're going to look at the survey we just did. So I'm going to switch to the survey results. Let's see how far it goes. Okay, so far I got 3 votes for between, wait, so 3 votes for between 30 to 60 minutes, 5 votes to less than 10, and okay, slightly changing. So let's take this one as the final figure because it's 10 volts, looks pretty nice. So if I want to do that, I know the number 4, 5, 1, and 0. So less than 10 minutes will be 5 volts. So what I'll do here is I can just say, all right, so the frequency is therefore 5. So 5 people say it takes less than 10 minutes for them to arrive through. And then 4 people say it takes about 30 to 60 minutes. So six people, sorry, 4 people say it's 30 to 60 minutes. And then from 10 to 30, there's only one person. So let's just say, here we go. And then greater than an hour, it's good to see that no one choose this one. So I just happily put in 0. So this is how we do a frequency table. Now, initially, if we look at the data, you'll probably see person A, 10 minutes, person B, 30 minutes, person C, 60 minutes. We can organize in this way so we can try to interpret the information from that. So we can see, for example, the majority of people will travel pretty close to school, about less than 10 minutes, and the second group will be from half an hour to an hour. So I reckon the first group is mostly travel, for example, on foot, and the next group is hopefully taking a bit longer transport. Okay, all right. So this is the idea of frequency table and how we convert the data to that. Now let's look at, for example, here, how do we convert a bar chart to a frequency table? Okay, still a very similar idea. So this is a table about student grade. It's like A, B, C, and D, which grade does the person get. And then, of course, the vertical one is the number of students. So this is called a bar chart. You will be able to see each bar or each, the vertical column. You'll have a categories underneath that. So for example, A, B, C, D will tell you which grade is that. And above that, sometimes there's a number, but well, even if it doesn't, you can just sort of say, okay, because it's here, it's slightly below 5, so it has to be 4. Alright, so easy as that. I'm going to call a few people to try to help me to fill in this table. Let's see who is here. So, alright, so for people who come in late. Alright, Charlotte, can you tell me how do I put in, which number do I put in this block, in the first ones? How many people get grade? Yep, 4, good. So that means 4 people will get um grade A. Okay, Logan, can you tell me which number do I put in the second one? How many do we get for grade B? Hello, Logan? Hello. Okay, logo is away for kind. Okay. All right. So Ruby then. Ruby, are you here? Good. So can you tell me which number do I put in here? 12. Good. Easy as that. Okay, and Soraya, can you tell me which number do we put in here? 10. Good. Very confident answer. And also for Adam, which number do I put in at the bottom? 2. Good. All right. So that's how we convert a bar chart. So on the left-hand side, we have the bar charts to a frequency table. Now, there are different sources of data. Now, I mean, it's good to have just numbers, and sometimes you may need to count using tallies, but eventually they can be put into this idea called frequency table. Now, the next big question is, why do we need to have the frequency table? Why can't we just settle with like bar charts or raw data? Now, the reason for that is we will use these bar charts to find our average. Now, remember when we talk about average, there are actually three different things, three different M we talk about. So, which is mean, median, and mode. Okay, so mean, median, and mode. Now, let's quickly go through the concept. Mean basically means a mathematical calculation. Now it means you add things up and divide the number of them. And median means the middle point. And mode basically is which happens most often. All right, so hopefully you know this guy here. So that's Messi, one of my favorite soccer player. Okay, so this is his data in the scores, the goals he get in the past 20 matches. Very impressive to be honest. So let's have a look at how we analyze each of them. Okay, so let's look at these three things: the mean, median, and mode. Mean is our mass average, so it means we need to add things up and then we divide the total. So we know that the total, if we add up all the frequency, 9 plus 7, that's 16, plus 1, that's 17, plus 2, that's 19, then add 1, we'll get 20. That means we're looking at the data of the 20 different matches. It will make sense because I told you it's 20 matches. These numbers will add up to 20. Okay, now you notice there's an empty column here. Now, what we need to do is we need to say, because he got 0 goals out of 9 matches, so we're going to multiply these two numbers together. And that is how many goals he got in that 9 matches, is it? Okay, so we got 0 times 9, we got a 0 here. And then 1 times 7, same idea. So in these 7 matches, he got 1 goal. So in total, out of these 7 matches, he got 7 goals. Okay, same here. Just multiply these numbers. Okay, so you'll get 2 times 1 will be 2, and 3 times 2 will be 6, 4 times 1 will be 4. Now, so that will show me how many goals in total, like instead of saying each match, we can look at that as a total score. So we can add things up. So 0 plus 7, that's 7, plus 2, that will be 9, plus 3, that's 15, plus 4, that will be 19. Okay, so that means out of the 20 matches, this guy actually scored um, 19 goals. So if we need to find a mean, okay, we need to use the sum, which is 19 here. Okay. Oh, let's see my poor drawing. Over, should have done that a little bit better. So use the number 19 divide by 20. And in this case, you'll get a number. If you go to decimals, you get 0.95. Okay, so it's very close to 1. Okay, what does it tell me is on average, okay, this guy is scoring roughly 1 goal per match on average, which is really good considering it's not so easy to score in soccer. Okay, all right, so this is for the mean, okay? So if we talk about the median, we can still use the frequency table for that. Remember, median is about the middle point. Now we have 20 matches, okay? So the middle point of 20 should be the tens position, okay? So we look at the tens and the 11th number to see what do we get, okay? So we got 9 zeros if we order them in this way. We got 9 zeros. So the next number, which is the 10th number, will be 1. And the 11th number will be 1 as well. So if we have a data, we have a frequency table, we can work backwards. And sort of say, okay, so the median is going to be equal to precisely 1. Okay, so this is telling me, okay, if we, well, instead of looking at the numbers, if we just look at the frequency, okay, the middle point, let's say this person is scoring 1 goal um, as his average performance. It'll make a little bit more sense because, yes, a person can score 1 goal. But it's really hard for a person to score 0.95 goals in a match. This is more of just a number, like a value interpretation, but this one is more of a real life analysis. Okay, so the last bit is the mode. We use the most frequent, so which means it has the highest frequency. Now in this case, we'll notice that will be this section. The highest frequency is 9, and the number of goal is 0. So unfortunately, if you use the mode to analyze that, what we see that in most matches, even though Messi is a great soccer player, in most matches he scores 0, which is normal. It's a soccer match, right? So different ways of finding the average will have different information. Now, each information is valuable. It's representing something, but depends on how we use it in real life. We may need to use different figures. So, for example, if you see on newspaper saying on average this is blah blah blah, you can question which average does that mean. In most cases, it means the mean, the mass average. But sometimes you will say it's the median or the mode. They know something can be played with this data. So if you say, all right, I know he is a great soccer player. On average, he got 0 goals per game, and the person will be like, how is that great? But we know that's because we are not using the most appropriate data to represent this information. But that's another story. All right. So far that's how we deal with the mean, median, and the mode. I hope you're all good with this concept. Now, what you need to do is, in today's lesson, you'll go to two things. The first is in the lesson for introduction. Okay, I see some people have already done this. That's really impressive. So you might need to answer this question. So how do you think we might be able to, do this data or table or graph? Okay, so the consolidation task, you need to complete the white one, the red one, and the amber one. So three of them. Probably adding up like 10, 12 questions for that. So the first section is really just about the numbers. These are the stuff you're familiar with. Okay, the second one is about the frequency table. Now, just one thing to add on. Sometimes you see the word total here, which is a little bit similar to the total here. So we don't need to, do total times 20. We just need to times whatever that is above that and then get a total from that and use this number to divide by the total. Now, if we don't have a total, then you can just say, all right, I'll just put a total here and calculate how many of them are there. So if there is a total, you can just use it. If there isn't a total, you may need to work that out. Okay, so try to work out that for today's purpose. So that will be the key bit today. Now, once if you are a little bit stuck, okay, remember there's a link on the math-based lesson page. Okay, if you click on the link, it may need to ask you to log in, but you do have the access to that. So you get a math-based lesson page, which will remember to click on the lesson. For some reason, when we got that, it's always the questions. I'm not sure why. But if you click on the lesson, and it will show you a bit, details on how to do things. It's a bit of reading. Some people like written things, some people don't, but it's your preference. Okay. All right, so let's make a start. Once you finish, just don't forget to upload